Hi everyone, this is Brad here. Today we're going to talk about creating project templates. This is really useful if you do a lot of repeat work for a particular client. A lot of times, they might have um, common distribution lists, people that you keep working with and sending reports. If there's certain suppliers that you work with all the time, let's create a template for that project or client that you can carry over to real projects, just speeding the whole project setup up a little bit faster. So what we're going to do is we are going to open up project administration, and we're going to go ahead and click project setup and then projects. Now, this screen that you see inside of MetaField, this is really for, if you're a user and you don't necessarily have integration with your accounting system, this is where you can come to create a new project. You're likely familiar with it. Now, if you do have integration with MetaField, you could either create this template project on your accounting side, or you could potentially come into MetaField and just do it here. But what we're going to do is underneath project number, I'm just going to label it like template. So we're going to create one here. I'm just going to say template. You can see I've done it a few times. Template project for, let's say, XYZ company. Okay. And again, maybe you just carry that over to the project name too, just something like that. You don't even have to have the right address. You probably could, makes sense, right? So we'll just go ahead and throw that in there. So you can put myself as the project manager, because essentially this isn't a real job, right? It's a fake one. So we're going to pretend that my client is Donware and Sons. So we're just going to go ahead and add that, but that's really the key, just a dummy project. And let's go ahead and hit save. So now that we've defined our dummy project, what we're going to do next is we're going to go back to the very beginning, and we're going to open up project admin again, but this time we're going to go into specifications. So what I want to do here is let's look for my template project that I just created. So I'm going to run a search. Here it is. And what we're going to do here is we're going to click View Specifications. So this is now that kind of one-time setup that I want to do for my template project. And the big ones that are really helpful are things like the distribution list. So you have a way now to create a distribution list for the people, people that you send reports to frequently for this particular client. And so let's click Add Recipient. If your contacts are already inside of the system, you can simply go ahead and search for them. So if this is a Donware job, I can go ahead and quickly add them, toggle this over to email access, and I can configure what types of reports this person is going to receive and hit save. So we'll do that same thing. There's a couple of these guys. Let's see, there's another one, right? So go ahead, call that one good too, and that looks good. So again, if there's 20 people here, go ahead and add them. And then you can also do things, like if they have certain costs that you work with, right? Maybe the pricing for this client is different than what you typically charge if you're using MetaField for your costs. Anything that you set up here will be applied for this job. So here's an example, right, where maybe for your cast cylinders, let's just for argument's sake, maybe you typically charge $20 a cylinder. But for whatever reason, this client, maybe you have a good relationship with them, maybe you only charge 15. So as you collect cylinders and break them on this job, because you set it up here at the project level, all of the transactions that you accrue for this project is going to be 15 instead of your normal 20. So a lot of flexibility there. You can also do some things here, if there's a specific supplier that you're working with all the time, you can go ahead and enter in that supplier and the mix design. Let's just say it's something like that at 28 days. Go ahead and hit save. So again, all this is stuff you can do on any project. Same thing with density test specifications. You might be doing some surveying beforehand depending on the project, but I think you kind of get the idea, right? So what would happen next? Once you go through these tabs and you set it up for your template project for this client, once you have that set up, you're going to move over here to the copy specifications button. So let's actually play this out in full though. We're going to go back into project admin and let's just say that, this Donware client, we're going to do a real job for them. So one more time, let's open up project admin and go to projects. So let's just say we want to bid for them, and we're going to start a job next week. So I'm just going to call this, real job for Donware 12345. It's not really a project number, but I think we get the idea. So kind of do the same thing. And again, sometimes if you have integration with MetaField, this is likely something you would do on the integration side, or excuse me, the accounting side. If it's like Dell Tech or BST or QuickBooks, whatever your system is. Go ahead and hit save. Okay. So what we're going to do now is let's reference our template. Okay, so we're going to open up project admin. We'll click specifications. Let's first reference our template project. So we'll go to view specs. And now that all of these things are set, including the distribution list, let's carry them over to the real job. Okay, so here's the real one. We're going to click copy. And it is going to ask me if I want to carry my distribution list over. Yes, I do. So let's copy it. Okay, so we carried that over. Now it's going to leave me on my template project because that's where I left off. But we just take a step back. So now we'll just look for the real one. Here it is, view specs. And if we go to, say, distribution, there they are. So I'm already working with something for the real job. And of course, I can add more people on the fly if I want to. So let's just do, let's pretend art here is part of the project. Can add art. Go ahead and, there they are. But again, I didn't have to add Bill or Shane there, right? Same thing with all of my costs and everything. So just little things like this add up over time, especially when you do a lot of repeat work for kind of the same client again and again. So just strategize on that. It may not be appropriate for every client, but if there are little small time savers, this is a great way to speed things up. So if you have any other questions, please reach out. Let us know. Last thing to note, I usually like to do this, but I was demoing today on version 2023.4. So if what I demoed today doesn't match exactly what you are using in MetaField as you watch this, just be mindful of that, that the versions might not line up. So, but either way, hopefully this has been helpful, and thank you.